Rap, news, street politics, the best hood channel on YouTube. And we backing them Gunnin Hunnids about to speak on some hoods that's really blew up within the last decade in the city. A lot of notable members coming out of this section, new hoods forming. We also got neighborhoods trying to expand on the east side. And we also got really one of the only active neighborhood on neighborhood Crip wars going up in the city right now. But one of the key things that a lot of people may not know about the Hunnids is it's not like every other Rollin old hood in the city. It's a collective of multiple different sets. But right now it's really fractured with the beef that's going on inside of these hoods. Now Rollin Hunnids, like I said, in the last decade, they really exploded, especially with the 100 Days, 100 Nights coming out this Westside area. But let's break down the hoods that's making up the Hunnids. Now Century is going to be the border to the Hunnids, of course, going all the way down to the 105. Only a couple blocks away from SoFi Stadium, the new Clipper Stadium, LAX. This is where it's cracking at. The first set that's a part of the Hunnids is the neighborhood 104 Hard Time Hustlers.
Oh, we doing skits, broad day, you know the truth. CMT killer on the game, we smoking. Dead niggas in the wood who won't smoke. BK on my name, the gang known. Full clip on they block, case closed. Never ran for no beef, you ain't known. Mad stuff fully loaded, you tryna go? I'm spinning corners even though I ain't had to go. If you out and I see you, you gotta go. Double O.
And I say neighborhood because they do push the NH, but they are still Hustler Crips. Now 104 is gonna be cool with the 8/8s on the east side, but the 8/8s of course are not gonna be part of the Hunnids and they not a part of the neighborhood car. But the Hard Times main spot is gonna be in these apartments off Van Ness and Century. And of course down Ruth Ellen and Gramercy as well. But across Western, they gonna be tight-knit with the Blocc. So we got two different Blocc hoods. We got 113 Blocc and 107 Blocc.
Bitch, I'm really in the field, I ain't taking no other route. I'm sliding through the hoochies, if I see them, I'm jumping out. My mind on the million, I don't know what they be talking about. My niggas train to kill, for that dough, we gon' chalk them out. All gas, no break shit, that must wanna hate shit. Now back to the basics, talk, get your face bit. Don't fuck with no fake shit, don't got it, I take it. Blue fame is the gang, bitch, we stay on some gang shit.
Now the main street that's really being pushed over here is 108, which is Blue Flame Gang or Fleazy Gang. They over here off 108th and Western, but of course you got 113th and Dinker, 107th and Dinker, but 107th is also gonna be a main spot for another hood inside of the Hunnids, UG Crip.
It's the fire right here though. Yeah, nigga ain't been on shit too much over here, shit, nigga. Other than that, bro, shit, the hood. Niggas play their part, everybody got their part over here.
Now UG is also known as UGBC, Underground Blocc Crip. Now technically it's Underground Crip, but they're tight-knit with the Bloccs. So this is why you will see UG Blocc Crip together. And they main blocks are 103rd, 105th, 106th, and like I said, 107th. Now 105th is probably their main street right now on the one-way. But all through them blocks between Dinker and Normandy is gonna be the UGs. Now on top of them is the Budlong Gangsta Crips.
You walk down the street, you got the 10-5s, you feel me? Them homies, niggas safe all through that area. This 100 Crip, you know what I'm saying? Nigga get 2 more blocks down, you got the snooze all through there, damn Budlong and shit. Nigga can't f with that shit. Nigga kill all that, we push that shit back. You feel me? Now they coming over here with the 11 deuce, trying to get their little bullshit in. But the Blocc still smashing that bitch ass. All the 100 Crips still smashing that bitch ass. Them niggas is pushing. They pushing. They fist to go, cuz. This is Budlong gangsters. They moving, cuz. They moving. They used to be down there with the ladies in a minute. They fucking with this.
Now, Budlong is one of many GC hoods that's not a traditional Gangsta Crip hood, pushing that gangsters moving. They're a part of the Rollin Hunnids and they tight-knit with the neighborhood Hard Times and with them UGs and Bloccs, which of course means that they're gonna share the same enemies, one of which is the Gangsta Crips, which we're gonna get to. But two other large sections that's always been known to be a part of the Hunnids is neighborhood 111 and neighborhood 11-5 Crip.
Baby Slick, when he left me in the hood, stomped down to the ground.
The way my dead homies affected me as well, you know what I'm saying? I feel as though we shouldn't get along with nobody, you know what I'm saying? How, you know what I'm saying, you gonna peace with a nigga who smoked one of your homeboys, you know what I'm saying? It should just be everybody killer, you know what I'm saying? This neighborhood for life. It don't stop till the casket drop.
Now, a lot of y'all may have heard about 111 over some of these other hoods, especially if you're not really up on what's going on in the city. Dub C is out of the 111, so that's what people really hear about, the 111s the most, especially dudes out of town. But also the 11-5s are really gonna be clicked up with the 111s right across Imperial. But again, these is two neighborhood Crip sets, a part of the Hunnids. And this section right here on both sides of Western is where the problems arise in the Hunnids, where you have the Bloccs and the UGs beefing with these 111s and 11-5s. So Western and Imperial is where the Rollin Hunnids divide, but we gonna speak on the origins of the beef between the Bloccs and the neighborhood 111-5s as we continue the video. And then west of Van Ness from the 11-5s, you got the Watergates. They're technically a part of the Hunnids, but they hood isn't as active as they used to be. I've seen some hitters from Watergate recently, but they haven't been making a lot of noise as of late. But some key people that we see in the city from these sections, of course, from Hard Time is Snoopy Harvard, from UG, Cool Corleone, J Reddy, Thirsty O, from 108 Block, Tookie, Flame Gang Uzi, and then Bino is gonna be associated with the Bloccs, and Draco is also gonna have associations over here with the Bloccs, which is why we see Ralphie hanging with the UGs and the Bloccs.
Niggas say you're a shooter, but you ain't shot shit. Spin it back again, we ain't drop shit. Chrome heart, sweater, pay some racks for this. On the outside, get your head split.
Twerking through the city with a rich bitch. She ain't talking to me, I be stitch lip. I'm a maid, niggas bitch built. Just pot too perky, tryna sit still.
Now, at one point in time, the Raymonds were a part of the Hunnids, but they not pushing Rollin Hunnids anymore, even though for sure they rocking with the neighborhood Crip car. They're not gonna be with the Rollin. Now, the key thing about the Bloccs is they really gonna be around since the genesis of Crippin', where it said that Tookie and Raymond Washington would both make appearances over here on 113th and Dinker to kick it, which is how this street got its name, the Block, with being a hangout spot for a lot of reputable members at that time in the early 70s. Now it's said that 113 Block formed in 73, 107 formed in about 74, 75. And they used to push neighborhood Block Crip because of their alliance with the 111s and the 11-5s. But as the UG started to come about and things kind of was going up and down with the 111s and 11-5s, the Bloccs gravitated more towards the UGs across Dinker. But it's also said that the UGs was one of the biggest hoods on the west side, going all the way up to Florence and Normandy. Now we know this is A-Tray Gangsta Crip territory now, but the UGs at that time were basically as big as the A-Trays are now, stretching 30, 40 blocks on the west side over here. But now, like we said, the UGs are really confined from 103rd to 108th between Dinker and Normandy. But all these hoods over here are extremely active. That's one thing you gotta understand, no matter the size of this territory. Now, something else we've been seeing with the Block Crip name is a new hood that potentially could be forming called Backdoor Everything Block Crip.
Niggas speaking on my block, but they spinning shit. Backdoor, I'm with the same niggas who I'm in it with. Niggas weird, get the fuck from around me on pretending shit. I catch the body broad day, I'm innocent, yeah. Free my niggas since little kids, we been killing shit.
Now, it's said that this hood is over here in Hawthorne between Rosecrans and 136. But I've been over there and everything seems to still be Hawthorne Lil Watts hood. I don't see any concrete evidence that a Block Crip set is over here. But nonetheless, these dudes are repping it. You got some rappers that's coming out of here, Asian Man, J Bell, Baby Ape, Lil E, and these dudes have said to have been sanctioned by the Hunnids in the 30s. And you can see the influence coming out of the Hunnids by adding this Block Crip name on it. Now, I don't know if this situation gonna last. I've seen a couple of these members are from other sets. One of them being Venice Showline Crip. Now, the thing with Venice Showline and a few other hoods throughout the city, the Showline hood is kind of ducked off. So the membership with Showlines is really homegrown. Like, you're not just finna find your way randomly at Oakwood Park. So with that being said, they one of them hoods that got like a militant movement about themselves. So I don't really see them getting behind having their young homies pushing another hood, especially Block Crip. Now, one thing the Showlines push the Deuce, they push the Far West, but they're the furthest thing from neighborhood Crips. So I can honestly see them shutting that down in their section with some dudes trying to claim BDE that's already been put on the Showline. I can see that causing friction in this area. Now, the thing is, the 30s is cool with Showline. And like I said, some members from Backdoor Everything are said to be from Harlem as well. So, you know, this could be like a little click phase that dudes is going through threw the Blocc Crip on it because they hanging in the Hunnids too. I can't say for sure that BDE is gonna take off and be another Blocc Crip set in the city, especially on the west side, because there's a lot of implications that come with that. And even though Blocc Crip is a neighborhood, they rolling with the old car and they pretty much is rolling with the neighborhoods, even though, like I said, they're a part of the only active neighborhood on neighborhood Crip beef in the city. And another hood that we've seen kind of pop up in recent years over here in this Westmont area is Pimp Town. So Pimp Town is not really a part of the Hunnids, but they are gonna be close with the Bloccs. But we seen Pimp Town really rep a lot of different stuff. We seen Pimp Town with the Gangsta Crip on the end. We've seen it with neighborhood Blocc Crip, but Pimp Town is gonna be over here by the 11 Deuce Hoovers, just north of the Raymonds and west of the Denver Lanes. They're also a new set, but they are gonna be tied in with the Bloccs regardless. I would say Pimp Town has a lot more room for growth compared to BDE, especially when it comes to this Blocc Cripping. And territory-wise, I'm pretty sure if BD was to fully set up shop and get cracking in Hawthorne, not only would they be beefing with the shotguns, they would also be beefing heavily with Hawthorne Lil Watts, which would probably drag the other Bloccs and the other Hunnids down to Hawthorne to take part in that war as well. And really right now they on their own island, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna rock with any of the Gangsta Crips, 11-8, Mad Ass Gangsters, or Hawthorne Thug Family. And with Pimp Town being right next to the Bloccs in the Hunnids, I think they will be able to thrive and benefit more when it comes to beef. But one thing that turned the world on to the Hunnids, especially UG and Blocc, was 100 Days, 100 Nights in 2015.
Never shot a gun, so little dude can't pop me. Thirsty in the field, we be sliding with Rockies. Lil' Brody got hit up in his face, he put the gang on him. Baby thirst slide on 84th, he got a name on him. Brody get the chippin' off the perk, now he staying safe. Brody in the field, I'm in the field, and we going crazy. Don't let me hold the blick, it ain't no devil, he gon' spray it. Somebody cookie, run some out the car before I blaze it.
Now it really jumped off when KP from Blocc, Kenneth Peavy, was gunned down in his hood on 109th. Now, this is when they said that it started. And for everybody that's not familiar with 100 Days and 100 Nights, it was really these UGs and Bloccs and the Hunnids all together going at it with the Hoovers and the Gangsters in a war that was supposed to last 100 nights with 100 bodies. But the key thing is 2015 alone was an extremely deadly year. And honestly, this situation started before KP was allegedly killed by the Hoovers on 109th and Hobart. Rewinding the clock back to March 2015, the UGs was getting cracking. So on March 12th, on 105th, the one-way, Bill Shepard, aka $100 Bill, who was a factor in this section, a reputable member, Infant Toon, Baby Hound, and other members from UG, Quincy Jefferson and Cleo Steele, was all on 105th when Toon and Hound pulled up and said they seen somebody by the name Cleveland Ross on Century and Hoover at the AutoZone. Now, Ross was a reputable dude from Hoover, and everybody knows Century's gonna be a big street for the H gang. But the Hoover hoods that border this block section is gonna be 107 and 11 Deuce, but the 9 Deuces is not gonna be far as well. That Century and Hoover is really gonna be the borderline between the 107s and the 9 Deuces. But either way, Cleveland Ross Jr. was at the AutoZone with his pops, fixing his BMW car battery. He was spotted, and these dudes hopped in the Caravan, rolled 3 cars deep, down Century to this AutoZone. Now, Toon was in the whip with Jefferson, the lead car. Another member from UG named Johnny Johnson hopped into his whip with Steele, and they had another homie telling them to the AutoZone. Now, they circled the AutoZone. Jefferson said he seen Ross putting the battery in, trying to start his car. And this is when he jumps out with a 357 and shoots Ross Jr. at least 7 times. Now, it's said after this, they slid back to 105th, where surveillance cameras and cell phone towers had tapped them. But this was in March. They were still cool until June. So June 10th come around, still 2015, before KP's killed on 109th, where it said that 4 dudes suspected to be from Hoover was on 88th and Vermont. Michael Washington, Michael Baptist, Laurel Williams, and Kevin Carr was at the Monarch Liquor Store, really on the border of ETG and 9 Deuce Hoover. But of course, The UGs are beefing with both A-Tray and 9 Deuce. But really, those are the only two hoods that are gonna be over here by 88. We know that's a main spot for the Hoovers. So it's said that Michael Baptist pulls up to the liquor store in the Dodge Dart. He goes in to get some cigarettes. Mikael Washington get out to go holler at somebody from across the street. When Baptist got back in the car, he seen 3 dudes in the whip that he recognized wasn't from their section. And he was trying to get up out of there. But at this time, that's when these dudes in that car started letting off. And when he tried to reverse, a Chevy Malibu had blocked him in. So a bullet hit him in his leg and twice in his back. And he say somebody got so close that he heard him say, "You next," before he was shot in the mouth. But at this time, he was able to see Mikael Washington, who again had hopped out the car to go holler at somebody. He was staggering across the street and ended up dying from multiple gunshot wounds. And the female that was at the bus stop also got hit. 5 people was hit in total. But Mikael Washington is the only one that died. Now at this time, they had a bunch of dudes from UG gaffled up after one of the 9 Deuce members was said to have made statements while he was still under anesthesia and pointed out one of the members from UG. Now, you know, this is a wobbler. You know how they play games. You sitting there drugged up off a couple shots and they point your finger to somebody. I'm not saying that's what happened, but when Kevin Carr woke up, he said he didn't remember pointing nobody out. But the dude in the white Malibu that blocked their car in, Patrick Bell, he was from UG and he was cousins with Cleo Steele. Mind you, Steele was on both of these hits from March and June. Patrick Bell ended up flipping for a plea bargain and gave a testimony against Cleo Steele. And Jefferson, the one who hopped out on Cleveland with the 357, he ended up snitching on Steele for a plea agreement as well. And Dollar Bill, who was on the 5 with these dudes before they killed Ross at the AutoZone, he lost his life over here on 107th only a couple years after these events by those apartments between Dinker and Western. But in all, these 2 events happened before KP was murdered. The UGs looking to take down some Hoovers. And on July 17, 2015, KP was the target of a chase down homicide early in the morning, presumably for retaliation.
A security camera was rolling at 12:45 in the morning on Friday, July 17th, 2015, when a car rolled down the street with someone inside shooting at Kenneth Peavy.
He comes into view and then out of view of the camera right here. And then following him, we see the first suspect, gun in hand, chasing him as well. Once the suspect is just out of the view of the camera, you'll see some muzzle flashes from the gun. And then that suspect takes off running back down the driveway this way. The second suspect runs in as well. You actually see him holding the gun and firing 2 rounds. And then he also runs back down this driveway.
Now, in this whole year, before and after 100 days, 100 nights, there was 87 homicides that happened between this Westmont and Hoover area and they surrounding enemies. So 2015 was for sure a cracking year. Dale Dog from 98 Maine also died. That was before 100 days, 100 nights. But again, that situation was up before July. 2015 is also when J Hood caught his homicide. We may talk about this. J Hood's supposed to get out later this year. We'll tap in with J Hood and see what's up. But we do have some details with him in 2015 when he caught his homicide case. Like I said, 2015 was a hot year in the city. Now, we know the war between the Hoovers and the Hunnids is one that's seen a lot of reputable members be killed on both sides. But another situation that happened in the Bloccs, where it's alleged that the Hoovers were a part of, was when a member named Bone from Blocc was killed on 111th and Western. Now, Bone, real name Charles Lewis, was killed on May 6, 2020 in this 11-3 Blocc hood. But a notable thing is, on the same day Bone was killed, earlier that afternoon, another man was killed on 58th and Hoover. Now, it's not said that both of these situations are related, but that's something that's low-key eye-opening, with one of these murders happening in the Fido's Hoovers and another one happening in the Bloccs. Even though these hoods are nowhere near each other, all of the Hoovers is gonna beef with the Bloccs. And then a year after that situation happened, a reputable member named K-Bone from Hard Time was killed on Van Ness and Century. Again, like we said, Van Ness and Century is gonna be the main spot for 104 Hard Time. Reason being is because the Hard Times is there, the 9-0s is there, the Inglewood families and the Avenue Parus are gonna exist at this intersection. But the key thing about Century, like we said, the Hoovers is also down Century. And it's alleged that they took part in this murder on Kenneth Smith, aka K-Bone. Now, of course, like I said, the Bloccs are not only beefing with the Hoovers and the 8 Trays, they also are beefing with the 9-9 Mafias. And the 9-9s are going to be the only Mafia hood on the west side, and they're kind of in a weird position with where they stand politically. So they fell out with the 8 Trays, and we seen them whacking out the ETGs on Normandy and 95th. They don't seem to have any beef with the Hoovers, but they also are beefing with the 9-0s, who's right down Century, and they beefing with the Hunnids. I think a beef with the Hoovers would really put them probably off the map. I'm just not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it real. They don't have a lot of territory, but they do have hitters in this section, man. I gotta keep it real. And they are said to have allegedly been responsible for making Blue Flame Gang, BFG, on 108th and Western, when it was alleged that they killed Keontae Daniels in 2014, who went by the name Blue Flame and was a part of original Blocc Crip. But this is another set that Blocc is beefing with, but 9-9, like I said, they got a lot of beef on their hands, and they don't seem to be turning nothing down. I'm gonna keep it real. We see them going at it with all them hoods that we named, but they haven't aligned themselves with their Mafia counterparts down Century in the 984, which we gonna touch on. But to stay in these Hunnids, like I said, this section is where the only NHC versus NHC beef lies, between 111, 11-5, and the Bloccs.
Alright, nigga. S-Gang, we got that shit out Westside block, nigga. Watergate, daddy. Everybody, nigga. I like that shit, girl. Inglewood and all that. Clock, nigga.
Now, like I said, this used to be NHBC, Neighborhood Block Crip. They was all tight, and I think there was some ups and downs on the road, but they're now in full-fledged war due to allegations that the 111s were responsible for the homicides of Lavelle Lil Spy Gilchrist and Craig Big Batiste. Now, Big is going to be Flame Gang Uzi dad. He was killed over here behind Animo in 111, but it's alleged that the 111s was responsible for that, and they've been going up for about the last 4 years over that situation. And I say neighborhood on neighborhood because the Block Crips are kind of like the Harlems, but I would say they one step deeper into being neighborhoods, where they part of the Rollin car, they ally with the neighborhoods, but they not neighborhood. They Bloccs, but they kind of are. A lot more than the Harlems. And then we have, like I said, the Hard Times and the Budlongs are cool with the Bloccs. So where does that leave neighborhood Hard Time versus the 111s? But I think that situation with Big, also known as the mayor, was major. He was involved in gang intervention at that time. He was back cleaning up the streets. I don't know the details from that situation, but sadly he lost his life over here, and it has these young dudes from Blocc going up against the 111s, and we've seen the 111s dissing Bloccs as well and sliding through their hood.
All this shit my block. On up. This really cave shit, nigga. They don't hang out. Dead homies. Smile up. Western Avenue, nigga. Nigga, we about to go down to BC. This is really clock stop. Dead homies. Fuck, nigga. Them niggas already know what the fuck going on.
Now, it's said that the 111s also were allegedly involved in the murder of somebody named Lil D, who was also from Blocc. And in 2022, we seen them alleging that the Bloccs were sending their homegirls to court to lie on somebody named Manhattan, who they claim was allegedly responsible for the murder of Lil D. And we also see the 111s alleging that Lil J-Bone and Tiny J-Bone from Blocc were snitching in that case as well. We don't have no proof of that, but you just see the back and forth between these hoods. You know, this is something that's low-key crazy, especially when we're talking about the neighborhood car. Now, we know the 40s and the 60s have gone at it. Even the 30s and the 40s have gone at it. I even got a homie from 60s that was shot by a dude from East Coast. But to have a full-out war like this again, especially from hoods that's this close. The 30s and the 40s, them was like Martin Luther King Day parade rumbles and shit like that. I don't know if it really got that out of hand like the 40s and the 60s did, but the proximity from the Bloccs to the 111s is what makes the situation extremely dangerous. But we've seen a lot of beef get started and end over here in the Hunnids. It was said that the Watergates used to beef it with the Bloccs as well at one point in time. I believe the Watergates also used to beef with the Raymonds. And we all know the Hoovers used to be cool with everybody. And it said that really when the 107s got started is when problems and shootouts started to arise with the Hoovers and the Bloccs. But we also see other situations throughout the city where recently we done seen the 30s and the 60s going back and forth with some dudes from 11-8 Block East Coast and other East Coast hoods. And there's also a hit up that's been floating around of the 8 Trays whacking out the 7-4 Hoovers. Now, both of those situations are really just personal. There's no bloodshed behind that. Not everybody's gonna get along, even with hoods that you ally with. So this situation we could see get fixed. Like I said, it's a lot of young dudes now, though. That's what I mean by the Blocc Crips exploding. They got a big, influential young generation that's coming out, and that's who's really pressing the gas and fueling this war right now. So I don't know how long this 111 versus Blocc Crip situation is gonna last in the Hunnids, man. But hopefully it can get cleaned up between these dudes. But coming down Century on the east side, like I was saying, there is some expansions and movements that's happening on the east, primarily with the main streets.
The shit that we be on, niggas wouldn't attempt. The last nigga try to score, got blocked at the rim. It's a lot of consequences when you whacking at him. And them niggas can't shoot, send it back to the gym. You know I'm straight off 98th, I got some lokes on the foe. Get close and let it flash, tell him strike for a post. Just a couple shots of Remy, she gon' turn to a hoe. Top rank around this bitch from really blowing that post.
So this is where the Mafias differ, east side to west side. So we said the 9-9 Mafias is beefing with the gangsters and the neighborhoods. We all know since about 2009 or 10, the 984 mains have fell out with the Hoovers and have really gravitated toward the neighborhoods where they stopped beefing with 97 East Coast and Q102 East Coast, two hoods that they really are bordering, and they start beefing heavily with the Hoovers, but they also beefing with the 9-7 Gangsta Crips and the 8-7 Gangsta Crips. And this situation that we seen with Shotta Foe and his homies up at the park trying to take over the 8-7s, this situation could potentially get out of hand.
Macy, I'm back. Oh, nah, y'all see where I'm at.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, y'all see where I'm at. I'm back. I told y'all this ain't no 1 day, 2 day shit. This is officially our hood, nigga. It's the our shit, nigga. It's members up here, nigga.
Where you from? You from? 8-7 gangsters, right? You make some gangsters, nigga. You make some gangsters, nigga. Stop lying to me, nigga. You make some gangsters, nigga. Nigga, you make some gangsters, nigga. Nigga, you make some gangsters, nigga.
Hey, this banger shit not for you, cuz.
Nigga, you make some gangsters.
Now the thing is, the 8-7s are bordering the 8-4s across Manchester, and the 9-8s are not far. But the 8-7s and the 9-7s is two more of them gangster crib hoods that I was telling you about aren't fully GC Trey time moving hoods. They moving coast to coast with the 4-pack, so they rock with the neighborhood East Coast. And I think, honestly, the 8-7s should have made a decision a long time ago, because at this time, they seem to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm gonna keep it real. The 8-7s, 87th and Wall, 87th Street, and 87th Place on Main, on Wall, them apartments on 87th Place, the 8-7s is active. And of course, we know what they did to P&B Rock. The 8-7s is not playing. But when we talking territory, they smashed in between the Hoovers, the main streets, the Avalons, the Swans. But I have seen 8-7 Kitchen hitting up in their hood too. So I think they on good terms with the Kitchens over here. But again, they kind of got their hands tied behind their back. Like we seen some people talk about with some of the 8-7 young homies not feeling the program from their OGs and turning East Coast or turning 4-pack over there by South Park. And honestly, I think that's due to some fossilized politicking. I feel like when the main streets squashed their beef with the coast, the 8-7 and Main Street beef should have been squashed too, because 8-7 rock with the coast. And they both beef with Avalon, they both beef with the Swans, but not wanting to budge off a position is potentially costly if it's true that some of their young homies is leaving and you got both main streets, one trying to cross 92nd and the other one trying to cross Manchester. So this is what I was talking about with seeing neighborhood Crip expansion, because at this point in time, the main streets is tight with all the neighborhoods. We done seen them kicking in with the 9-0s. They heavy, tight knit with the East Coast. We done seen a grip of them dudes with the 6-pack. So this is just something that's interesting to see in the city, man. And then with these dudes being up at Green Meadows Park, which is the park Shotta Foe and them was hanging out, saying that the 8-7s wasn't at, the 8-8 Hard Times is gonna be right over here as well. Now, like I said previously, the 8-8s and the 104 Hard Times are both cool. And with the 104 Hard Times being neighborhood, the 984 mains should have squashed their beef with the 88s as well. So this is also something that's spread in that neighborhood Crip alliance. Even though, like I said, the 88s are not neighborhood, but they do share common enemies in the 88 Avalons. But nonetheless, this is what's going on in South Central. These are the politics that can potentially have long-lasting effects in the city, with new hoods coming out, hoods that used to be cool in full-fledged war, and some hoods that we can be seeing taken off the map altogether, man. But overall, man, y'all stay locked in with the channel. We appreciate all the members and the subscribers and everybody on Patreon, man. The Patreon been going up. But y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tapped in with us. We out.